Well, we're definitely seeing issues. What a beautiful day. It's spring. Spring showing its face in Utah. We've been snowy and rainy and everything else for the last few weeks, so that'll be a welcome change. And since it is such a nice weekend, let's talk Charger. Get that low profile view. Oh yeah, I love it. You may recall from Matt's, we were unable to, we elected not to try and race this car on the last Eliminator. We had a hard start problem and eventually seemed like we had hydrolocked it, got that cleared out, but it was doing some funky things still, just being a jerk trying to start really at that point. We opted to park it, let Riley race his truck, and drug this beast back home to figure out what the heck was this deal. And I left the thing on the trailer for probably almost 2 weeks. Mostly because it was cold and snowy, and that was the other thing. The poor car had to sit out in the snow, so we tarped it to try and help, at least make it look like we cared, right? We care. Unfortunate circumstances. Need to find a way to get it back in the garage, and ASAP. At that point, got it off the trailer. I got it to start, and I got it to run, and mostly I just needed to get it off the trailer, get the trailer back in the yard. But it did run. It just made a funky sound, like something was kind of dragging. And it almost seemed like, man, maybe something in the flex plate, something down that way. So I'm not 100% sure, but we aim to find out. Man, this poor hood. I think half of the fasteners are stripped out. It's misaligned like crazy. Now we have a coolant leak at the water neck. Oh, and I took the belt off. I took that off because I wondered if one of the belt driven, well, the accessory being the alternator, I guess the water pump's an option too, was maybe making the noise, but the noise still was there afterwards. So we're gonna try and fire this beast up. I don't have any help today. Everybody else is busy. It happens. I'm gonna hook up the remote starter. I've got the key turned on the inside. I'm gonna hang out over here with this Harbor Freight remote starter switch. I needed one in a pinch. My old one seemingly died. We're gonna be watching for fuel pressure. I kind of suspect that might have gone out of adjustment. And then we're just gonna be listening for weird noises. It literally sounds like a banging, a clanking. And it does get quiet as the RPMs go back towards idle. I think I need to jack it up and look underneath at the flex plate. And I did back the fuel pressure down just in case. And honestly, I didn't know where it was gonna be when it was started running, but it looks like it was somewhere around 4. So, I mean, that can come back up. But we gotta find out what that freaking hammer noise is. That just sounds awful. Slow to build oil pressure, but it is cold. But there's that clanking. I assume you can hear it. Probably shouldn't just keep running it, but I wanted to put it up on ramps and can get under it and look. I'm gonna go take a look underneath though and see if anything appears to be interfering with something else. Oh, we're definitely seeing issues. This transmission pan, yeah, it's leaking again. You know, I like the deep pan. Extra fluid is not a bad thing, but man, it will not seal for crap. We have found something that looks a little sinister. Maybe you can tell right there. There's a gap between the transmission and the engine block. Probably should have been something I looked for first, right? We're gonna tighten that up. So there was probably somewhere between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch. This bottom bolt, completely gone. So that loosened up, fell out. And the one above it, where the dipstick mounts to, that one was slightly loose. I didn't have to bring that in too much, but yes, it was loose. I've tightened up a bunch of stuff, wiped off a bunch of stuff, and if you've never seen underneath my car before, well, it's not a whole lot to look at. Unless you notice how nice the floors actually are. Check that out. And this thing's got really good floors. But yet the trunk looks like it spent winters up north where they salt the roads. Well, actually Utah. Huh, how about that? These stock Charger tubs hold a lot of tire. We're gonna go back up top. I'm gonna just double check the top 2 bolts of the transmission to the engine, and then we'll crank it up and see what happens. I didn't think it was the engine at first. Kind of thinking it is now. I've had the valve covers off of it. It sounds kind of high up. Oh man. Rockers all look good. Push rods all look good. I don't know if something's wrong with a piston, a wrist pin. We might have a hurt 440 here, which really sucks. I'm probably gonna have to park this one for a minute till we can dig deeper. So I've got a cover off. Gonna take a quick glance. We do not appear to have any bent valves, which is good. All our rockers are in position. Nothing apart, nothing in pieces. So we're just going to rotate things over a little bit and kind of watch it. Yeah, I was worried about making a mess, but forgot about that. The rocker gear looks good, and I've already looked at it once, right? I had the covers off of it before I even decided to, well, do anything. Okay, fire in the hole. That's probably enough data. Something's hurt. Something inside is hurt. We are gonna take a break on this one for a minute.
Never stamped these.
and just now Riley's concerned that they didn't stamp his run card at Matt's.
I just find that interesting.
No, they didn't. They didn't stamp your run card. They didn't stamp mine either. They didn't care. Anyway, little tangent aside, we have a nasty knock inside this engine. It's not good. At some point I will find the motivation to tear it out. I'll actually take it out nicely. I won't tear it out, but at some point I will find that motivation to pull this engine. I do have another 440 that is also unknown, untested. It was out of a motorhome. So the old Dodge might end up with a motorhome 440. And at that point, we'll tear this down and see what we broke. But I have a storage problem. So we have dart work to do. Got to get that back in the trailer so that this can go back in the garage. Don't feel sorry for me. Just hate that this thing's gonna be parked again for a minute. So depressing. All right, guys. If you really want to make me feel better, hit that like button. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, and share. We've said that once before, and I appreciate you guys that already are subscribed. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.